What is going on YouTube? This is my first real live stream on YouTube via the YouTube mobile app. So I've done live streams on YouTube before, but they've been doing Camify or Ace live streaming or other live streaming platforms or like do my desktop. I haven't done a YouTube live, like a real live, straight from YouTube app, like no downloading another app, save memory storage off my phone or my Kindle. So this is going to be my first ever YouTube live stream. And this live stream is going to be something that I've been focusing on since I started my YouTube channel, and that is poetry. This is going to be talking about why I'm so passionate about poetry, what makes me write, what is it that inspires me to write poetry, how why would I choose to do poetry over millions of other things I could be doing around other things I could be doing. So let's talk about that. So, my poetry, has definitely, like, when I first got into poetry, at age 14, it was just me writing about my life, writing about, school and whatnot, just how I was like a misfit, nobody understands me. And then, I showed it to like my mom, I showed it to like people at church, and it was like, oh my God, that's so good, that's so deep. And and like from there on I just kept writing, I kept writing, kept writing, and next thing you know, I end up having a book out, and you know, in 2014 when I was 18, I had that out. And then I, kept writing some more, and then I had another book out, and then and then I was like, I kept writing some more. Then I started, let me take this to the next level. So I, figured out different ways I could, promote my poetry, like through social media, like Facebook or Instagram, YouTube, SoundCloud, stuff like that. And for a while it was really slow. It was really hard because there's so because poetry, because there's so much out there. You know, and this was like last year, so this was like 2016 when I really started to use social media for my poetry because you know I was kind of late. When I was growing up, I wasn't really allowed to have a social media account because I got in trouble for I got in trouble for like using Facebook because I said certain things. I got in trouble with YouTube because I was kind of talking about how I kind of felt lost and stuff like that, and my mom, kind of felt like I was being held back, and then my mom saw it, my cousin saw it, and then this is when Google Plus was controlling YouTube. So like if you had a Google Plus account, you had a YouTube account, stuff like that, and it was just messy. And so I just kind of stayed away from YouTube for a couple years. So that's why I was kind of late to YouTube and Instagram, stuff like that. But but then I was like, well, I want to, because the reason why I'm so passionate about it now, because I was like, I want to do this, I want to do poetry, I still want to do this, but it's hard because I don't have I don't have a big following. I don't have an audience outside of Richmond County, where I stay at. And if I want to go to like an open mic or anything like that, a spoken word event, I had to leave my hometown, and I don't have my driver's license, and I ain't trying to get my mom fussing at me going to like Lumberton or Fayetteville or places like that, Charlotte, Durham, where she gotta like, and she's like older, she's an older mom, so it's like hard to get her to, so she can't move around like that. So that's what made me, do social media. That's what made me say, okay, well, if I can't get an audience via traveling, let me just try to do it in a more passive way, and that was doing these YouTube videos. So when I started my YouTube channel in early 2017, it was just it was poetry, but it was also like vlogging and stuff like that. I want to talk about like my life, my story, like my personal experiences, dealing with being on the spectrum, being my favorite cartoons and stuff like that. Like I want to be kind of a vlog slash poetry channel, but I want to be an umbrella of like inspirational. I want to be an umbrella of like hey, like I can inspire people because I want my the main audience I want to attract was young teenagers because I feel like poetry it definitely helped me throughout my teens because when I was a teenager in high school, I was picked on, I was a misfit. I don't really understand, a lot of things about myself yet, and I didn't really I felt like a loner because I was into certain things. I was had a disability, and I was a Christian too. I know I was born again Christian at the time, and like I really felt like I had a place. There was a place for me. I grew up in this rural South, so it's like when so like so it's not so like stuff like poetry is not really pushed out here. So I don't really have a place, and like writing just gave me a sense of freedom, a sense of identity, a sense of purpose, and that's why I share my poetry on this channel because I want other young people to know that hey, I'm here with you. I understand what it's like to be 14, 15 years old, 16 years old, and feel like nobody understands you. Like I get that. I totally get that. So that's why I do these videos. So my purpose behind the pen is basically to inspire people, is to encourage people to follow their dreams. If it's hard, if you think it's you're not if it's something that you feel like it's something that it's like I'm not sure you don't know it's gonna you don't know the outcome, but you don't really know what you're doing, but you kind of know what you're doing, type of deal. You're not sure of the outcome, but you feel in your heart that says, I need to do this, I need to do this. Like it's eating you alive. You can't, you losing sleep over this thing. Like I want to help people go through that process because I've been in that process several times throughout my journey, and it has helped me, bring some connections. It has helped me get, some strong friendships and like stuff like that, and that's why I write, that's why I do what I do, because I want to see more people like who had those I want to see more people with those same stories. I want people to say, hey, you know I was like my parents understand me, or I don't really have friends, and like you helped me get through some of the toughest times of my life, um, type of deal. Like that's what I want for my channel, and like I'm kind of started seeing out with my Vidly channel. Vidly is a new video sharing platform that's similar to YouTube, classic YouTube at that. And like Vidly, I'm ready, seeing fruits of what my poetry can do, because I've seen people say, "Oh my God, great poem, great poem, great poem," and like a person who who's a subscriber of mine, Weird Scrap Videos, Travis. He said, I want to do poetry too. And like, not really says that, man, I'm glad I did decide to do poetry because, Vidly, again, it's a new video sharing platform. I'm literally the only poet on that website right now, but I'm like one of the top users on that website just by, being myself, sharing my stories, talking about how much I love the community, connected with the people on Discord. Like I was able to be one of the most popular users on that website because I was so different. I was so unique. I was a breath of fresh air because this website, majority of the website, is mainly like animations, videos, is mainly skits and gameplay videos. So it's basically like more of the wacky fun side of, the internet, and I was like, well, let me just bring some. So I'm like, oh, so this is an opportunity where I could, share, bring something new and be new and original. And I just say, okay, let me just bring my poetry out there. And I did my first poem I did was the 21 piece, the piece I did when I turned 21. And I got my first comment. The person said, "Great poem," and then I was like, okay. So I said I got a hang of it. So then I just started doing more and more and more and more and more, and I eventually was getting subscribers, and I was then getting rated, 5 stars, because on Vidly it has the old 5-star rating system from YouTube back in the day. So like it's definitely been a blessing that I'm able to encourage other people, to help them find their own passion, their own purpose. And like that's why I write. That's why I do poetry, because I know what it feels like to feel lost. I know what it feels like to feel empty. Um, that's why I did my video about my college experience, because when I left North Carolina, to move to New York, back in 2014, I was, I knew I wanted to do poetry. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew I had ideas, but I just didn't have like a specific like focus, a specific like a one specific, you know, goal. I was trying to, I was saying, okay, I want to do poetry, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna make money off of this because, I don't know anybody. Like, again, I didn't have no role model. Like, I didn't have no example of somebody making money off of their poetry. Like, I didn't have nobody example, and like, but I knew that New York would be a place where spoken word is like big up there. I don't have to drive. I could just take the train. Oh, poetry's everywhere in New York, so I felt like New York would be a perfect place for me. But it wasn't really because it was just it was because I mean I didn't stay in a dorm. I was in my mom's old apartment in Queens, and my sister and my cousin was living up there, and it was just they were just like worried to death about me, and then my mom was yelling at me, and just it was just a mess. And then because my sister wasn't really getting along that well, so it just felt kind of empty. I just felt kind of empty. I was like, man, what I get myself into, type of deal. And like I wasn't, it was all my cousin was always it was either at work or at school, or she was eating out somewhere, and my sister was she was always in church, and that was it. So like I didn't really have like nobody could take me anywhere, so I felt kind of lost, and like I felt like I had to go and find my own place. And then if I did one of my own, my mom and my everybody were sick about me. So I felt like it wasn't. I felt like I didn't have a place. I felt like I didn't have my own lane. Or I always felt like I had to find my own way. That's why I wrote the poem Anomaly, because I felt like now my family understands me. I felt like I had to do things my own way just to get heard, because it's always like what can go wrong, or you're naive, or you're just this and that. So like that's why I do this on. That's why I do what I do, because I understand the narrative. I understand that when you want to do something creative, you want to do something different, you want to do something unique, you want to do something that not many people are doing. You won't get a lot of flack from your peers and your family members. Like I understand that completely. So that's why I do what I do. So it help you guys take risks. Help you guys realize that this is the land of opportunity. This is a time where you need to hone your craft, because this internet thing right here, this YouTube thing, like you can do so much with this thing that you couldn't do 5, 10 years ago. Like live streaming, like this last year, the only way I could live stream on YouTube was via Camify or via Camify or any other app that was out there on the Android market. Like I couldn't do this just straight from YouTube. So like just to show how much technology has evolved over the last several years, and like now it's the time to really take your passion seriously. If you're passionate about something, put it out there, let people know about it. If you're passionate about like video games, if you're passionate about makeup, if you're passionate about poetry, if you're passionate about writing books or whatever, or put it out there. This is what social media is for. This is what the internet is for. The internet is a place for the weirdos. It's a place for the creators. It's a place for the people who were ostracized for in school for banging on the desk. This is what the internet is for. So without the way, this is Mario Walker signing out.